Hey everybody, it's Pattern. I'm here with Nico, and we were just talking about all the new people who've been coming to the Cosmic Tower community and realizing that when we were starting out disseminating information, we were giving hours and hours of it at a time, and that can be a lot to go through. So we want to break things down a little bit. And one of the things that comes up every day is people want to understand, hey, which tower is right for me? And so we thought we'd spend a couple minutes talking about that and make something accessible for people. So Nico, I think we're going to approach this in kind of three parts. And so the first part is, the 35 and 75 are really kind of for personal use. Can you talk about um, how they work, what their benefit is, how big they are, and like what type of person is best for the 35 and 75?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 35 and the 75 we call more the personal towers, the family towers, and they're for the protection of your home and your family, but also to help you with balancing all your body, supporting all living organisms within its field, and also with your spiritual development. So they're really personal. And what about choosing the 35 or the 75? One thing we have to understand with the cosmic towers is that as you go up in models, it's not like linear. It's like a logarithmic scale. So even though a 35 is half the size of a 75, the 75 is 6 times more powerful than a 35. So what we recommend is, it depends on your budget, but if you can afford a 75, we definitely recommend getting the 75 because its range is just a lot more. It's about, 1,000 yards range in diameter for a 75, and it's about 200 yards for a 35. But that 75 is 6 times more powerful. And that's especially important if you live in a more urban environment and you have a lot of distortion, 5G, Wi-Fi, antennas, and all that with close to your house, or your house is covered by those. Because the 75 is so powerful, it does really good on its own. While if you're in the real urban environments, a 35 might do really well if there's support of the big towers. But we're not in a scenario where we have a lot of support all over the country for 35s for smaller towers by the 220s. So we always recommend to go with the 75 if you can afford it. And else, the 35 is still beneficial too. But depending on your environment, it might really call for a 75. One thing that I also personally also like the 35s for is you can easily travel with them. So for people that spend a lot of time on the road and traveling, the 35 is also nice because you can easily take it to your hotel or fly with and still have good protection.
Sure. So, one of the things I want to share with people, I spent 18 years in finance before coming to the water industry, like over a dozen years ago. And so I've been around money my whole life. And one of the things is I never want people to feel pressured around money. So tell the audience, Nico, your first Cosmic Tower, what size was it?
Mine was a 35.
Exactly. And the reason I wanted to share that is that was enough for you. And it wasn't like you got that and felt like I've got a diminished tower or something like that. And so when we're inviting you, the audience, to own a 75, it's from a place that you can do that in flow. But if you get go to get a 75 and you look at the price tag on it and you get overwhelmed and feel stressed about it, that's not the right tower for you, right? The right tower for you is the one that matches your values and your budget and your beliefs. And so, yes, a 75 is 6 times stronger. It's great if you have it. And if that brings you stress, then get the next one down. That's what Nico did with his first one. And me, my first one, I borrowed Nico's, right? So, we shared that 35 for a while. So it is perfectly okay to choose either. They're both wonderful. And it's great to have the greater intensity. This is an era of extraordinary electromagnetic pollution. And if you can do more to have a stronger field in your neighborhood, in your home, for your family, for the harmony in your whole area, then do it. Do you want to add anything to that before we switch to the 220s?
I just want to mention that you're not locked in for that for life, but if your situation changes or you change your mind later, we do have a trade-in program, an upgrade program to allow you to make that transition and go to a different model.
That's a great point. That's a really, really great point. So there's no guarantee of long-term supply of cosmic towers, but there is a promise by the Wellness Enterprise to be honorable and to help towers land where they're most loved. And so if at some point somebody with a 35 wants to upgrade to a 75 and all the 75s are sold, which is going to happen here at some point in 2024, then we'll see if we can find a 75 that somebody maybe is getting on the road more and wants a 35. We'll be there with you. We can't guarantee they'll be available, but we're going to do everything we can to support that wherever the towers we have the capacity to steward go, they land in the happiest, most harmonious places, and that they're held by long-term owners who love them. So, as we build the bridge up to the 220s, I want to kind of do it from the place of thinking about that personal unit for 35 and 75. First question on a 220 is, can somebody buy a 220 for their personal purpose?
Well, they can. Now, a 220 is really focused on, the larger issues and really regenerating nature and also supporting the smaller towers. Now, if you have a 220 in your home, it has a very strong field, right? And you still get the benefit of having the most powerful field. So basically nothing comes through as far as EMF and other distortions. So in that sense, absolutely, you get the personal benefit. But when we are talking about that they're not so personal, it's more for your own spiritual development, etc. They're not so focused on supporting the individual. But I do want to add to that, if you live with a 220 who has such a strong and harmonious field, of course, you're going to go through healing and balancing of your body, and you basically have the perfect environment for that spiritual development. So they're not focused as that's their main purpose to help you with that. But of course, there's going to be benefits on a personal level to just have such a strong field originating from your home.
Right on. And if we look at who the 220 is really ideal for, what type of people, like who should choose a 220?
Yeah, let's look at the people that have got the 220s here in the United States, and they're all people that really want to help the world forward, that are not really just thinking about themselves, but say, I want to do something for my environment, for all living organisms around me, and I have the means to do so. And that it's really beautiful when you talk to those people, to hear why they're getting it and how they really want to make the change in the world. And yeah, it's beautiful to have one of those, because it's amazing support, not only for the environment, for all living organisms, but also for all the smaller tower owners that are within its range. They get a benefit also with their tower.
Nice. I'd like to add a point on the 220s. That's one of my favorite things about having switched careers. It just amuses me to no end. There's a type of person who calls the Wellness Enterprise. And I've answered the phone so many times for so many years, to spoken to so many thousands of people, that they're really easily identifiable. And the way I would describe it to people is there's like a bubbling in their cells that they know they're about to take an action toward harmony. And their mind is settling in and trying to figure out how to justify the decision. And so they come with all this heart-based excitement, and they know what they're going to do. And they just have to talk long enough to exhaust their head, to let it get out of the way and do what their heart really wants. And so if you're feeling the cosmic tower, a lot of people who've bought them, a bunch of them, have felt like their tower started connecting with them before they placed their order. And they could hear the communion and they felt that excitement of that connection. And so for me, that's my favorite person to interact with around the cosmic tower because there's zero doubt. It's like you can just feel that it comes from the heart energy. So I wanted to throw that in there too. And just, if somebody's watching and they're experiencing that just level of excitement, they know they want to in a level of their being. See if you can discern, like, is that your heart talking to you? Which part of you is going forward, which part of you is resisting, and just live through the process. It's a really sweet process, and you get to the other side. Yeah. So anything else you want to add on the 220s, Nico?
But no, so they have a diameter range of about 400 miles, which is it's very big. Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to support a harmonious environment in such a large area.
Okay, I sometimes get confused on the conversions with the kilometers and the miles. I thought it was more like 500, but 4 to
400
500,
miles.
right? And yeah, it's published on the website. It's on the Cosmic Tower product page. So that's the 220s. And then I want to say, before we go to the minis, I just want to share with people that when we were entrusted to steward this project in North America, we just started with those 3 towers. That was it. And the reason that was it was we didn't want to bring minis in and have somebody get an experience that wasn't as strong and regenerative as what we intended for them. And so we waited until there began to be an established base of the larger towers before bringing the minis in. They came in the second shipment, not in the first. So I think that's an important part of the story. Yeah, so why don't you talk a little bit about what our experience is, the mini like really does, and how it supports people and how they can, how people can see themselves as a mini owner.
Yeah, the minis, because they're so small, they're really focused on being easy to pick up and take with you. So they're really for when people are traveling and to protect them while they're outside of their range of their tower at home. So the tower at home, whether it's a 35, 75 or a 220, doesn't only protect your field, it actually improves it and it balances it out. The mini is to focus just on making sure that when you're outside of that range of your larger tower, that you don't go backwards, to make sure that all the gains you got from your larger tower that they say, and to basically protect you from that, because there's only a small amount of water in there. So the field is maybe about 25 feet just to protect your personal aura, but also to structure your water as you have it with you. So it's easy to take to work with you. Or if you go on an airplane, to take in your carry-on luggage so you're protected while you're traveling. That's really the aim for the Mini, to provide you that protection until you are back into your larger towers field.
That's great, Nico. Thank you for that. And I have one more question. I always come up with an unscripted question for you. And this one just came in, so we'll see what you think about this one. So the question is, let's say somebody is listening and looking at the cosmic towers and they really just don't have the funds and the resources, right? So they're living out there in this country right now and they're getting bombarded by EMF and probably not well if they're seeking and finding the cosmic tower project and don't have the money to just plunk down on it. It's probably because of health. That's the usual reason. So what counsel would you give to somebody who wants to be part of this project, wants to tap into the frequency of it, and doesn't have the financial resources to be a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, reach out to us for sure. We have all kinds of ways to make this happen. And also, we're manifesting, co-creating beings, right? And I've noticed when people really want a tower and they start tuning into the field and watching the videos and reading up on it, well, there's a way that what they need flows to them. So yeah, don't just write it off and say I can't afford it, but really, visualize it and ask the tower network for help and say, hey, if one of these towers is meant to come to me, please help facilitate that. And we've seen it in a number of cases where people actually do get the resources and then are able to buy a tower.
That's great. Well, thanks for jumping in on that. And thank you all to the community for watching this video and being a part of this. Nico and I are so privileged and thankful that we get the opportunity to participate in this project ourselves and to have the opportunity to commune with you about them. So if there's ever anything we can do for you, you can reach us at support@thewellnessenterprise.com, support@thewellnessenterprise.com. And we'd just love to hear from you, and let us know how we can support you. All right, thanks a lot, Nico.